If you're bitten by a king cobra, there's no anti-venom, and death is certain. I'm going to tell you about a guy who was bitten and how he died. This is the story of one man's final moments. His wife rushed him to the hospital, but unfortunately they were an hour away from the nearest medical facility. And by the time Gopal got there, it was too late. The anti-venom arrived after he had already passed away. In 2013, a man from India named Gopal Mali was bitten by a king cobra while he was working in his field. Gopal had felt the bite immediately, but because he was a farmer, he continued to work. You either suffocate because you pull air into your lungs, or your lungs fill with fluid and your body starts to suffocate from the inside. It fills the tiny air sacs with fluid, making breathing extremely difficult. Doctors must remove some of this fluid so you can breathe easier. Eventually, your heart stops beating and you pass away. Once the fluid is removed, they inject you with the anti-venom, but they can only inject you with half the dose. They have to wait until the first dose wears off before they can use the second dose. That's because the anti-venom can cause permanent damage to your nerves. He didn't want to scare the other farm animals or alert his fellow workers. Scientists are still trying to figure out all of its deadly effects. What they do know is that this particular kind of snake is responsible for 100,000 bites each year, resulting in 500 deaths. You'll probably stay like this for a few days until the anti-venom eventually leaves your body. Then the doctors will repeat the process. The venom attacks the nerves that control your muscles, meaning you could be paralyzed from the waist down. In fact, the anti-venom arrived after he had been dead for several hours. He didn't want them to think he was crazy, so he hid his pain and continued working. A little later, though, he went home and collapsed. This is how king cobras kill their prey. Their venom enters your bloodstream and quickly makes its way to your brain. That won't help. It'll only make things worse. Instead, stay calm. Wash the wound and seek medical attention immediately. It attacks your central nervous system, causing paralysis, which means you can't move your arms or legs, even your diaphragm, which is a large dome-shaped muscle responsible for breathing. When it stops working, you can't breathe anymore. Now, this can happen in two ways. These bites are extremely painful, but the real pain starts when you get to the hospital. Doctors have to inject you with a substance called succinylcholine chloride, which paralyzes your muscles so that you can be put on a ventilator. This is because the anti-venom can only be administered intravenously, which means you have to be completely still to receive it. Okay, but because you're in immense pain, your muscles will tense up, making it difficult for the doctors to start the IV when the muscles in your arms and legs are fully relaxed. Doctors can insert an IV into one of your veins. But where do they put the needle? They can't put it in your arm because you've been bitten by a snake. Putting a needle in your arm is dangerous. The only option is to put the needle into the fluids at the bottom of your lungs. This is called a pleural tap. It sounds terrifying, and it is. The reason why they need to put the needle in your lung is because the venom has spread to your entire body, including your lungs. But this isn't the worst part. So, you re-stuck in this room, hooked up to a machine that's helping you breathe, while you wait for the first dose of antivenom to wear off. If you survive, you might not ever be able to walk again. In Gopal's case, he was already dead when he got to the hospital. There was no saving him. King cobra venom is a complex mixture of toxins that have been studied for decades. If you ever get bitten by a king cobra, don't try to suck the venom out like they do in the movies. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe.